What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to Sky Talk Sports. It's week 6 of college football, and this is the beat the hell out of Bama week. That's right. We've got the fighting Texas Aggies versus the Alabama Crimson Tide, 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on CBS in front of 107,000 people in Kyle Field. And it's going to be lit. I know exactly what it cost me to go to this game. $3,000 for a family of 4 to sit in Section 125 so I can watch my fighting Texas Aggies beat the hell out of Alabama. Hopefully. And let's jump right into it. Here's what we got so far. This is what I've nitpicked on Bama and A&M throughout this week. Now, I've been gone. I apologize. I hadn't put up many videos this week. I went down to the ranch outside of Harper, Texas, and we did a little axis deer hunting, and so don't have great service down there. Wasn't able to upload any videos, but I have watched my film. I have done a little studying, and hey, the past 2 weeks in a row, my film watching and studying come out pretty good. What did I say last week? Aggies were going to win 35-25 in a 10-point game. Came out to be 34-22. I said we was going to get 6+ sacks. We ended up with 7. Things were working pretty good. Here's what I've seen so far. You got the first week, our first major game with Bama that we watched was Bama versus UT, or Texas, the T-Sips, TU, however we want to say it. Okay, the people that wear burnt orange that buy their shirts from Walmart because they didn't actually go to school at the University of Texas. It's a whole complex thing that they have going on there. Anyways, Texas did come out and just beat the brakes off of Alabama, even though, that was the narrative, even though Alabama had a chance to go up in the fourth quarter, right? Now, here's one thing that you have to remember when looking at all this. Early in the season, Alabama usually struggles a little bit if they have to play somebody of any importance. The University of Texas will always get up for big games when it's one of those situations where everybody on our side of the fence says they're going to get smashed. If you ever notice, if there's a situation where somebody says, just wait till you get into the SEC, the next Big 12 team that comes up to play the SEC team, they play that as the biggest game of their entire lives, and they give it everything they got, and sometimes it's really close, and sometimes they come up victorious, and then we have to listen to the bull crap for the remainder of the season. I think that's kind of what happened week 1. I won't say week 1. It wasn't week 1. That's kind of what happened with the first big game of the year for Bama was the Bama-Texas game. That's kind of what happened there. Now, I'm not trying to take stuff away from Texas. I still think they're an extremely physical team. I still think they're a playoff contender football team. However, I don't think Bama, 1, is the same team they've always been. And 2, I don't think Bama got up as much for that game as Texas did. Move on to the next go round with the laughing stock portion of the Bama season was the Southern Florida University of South Florida USF game where they basically squeaked by those guys with using their 2 backup quarterbacks, and Milrose sits on the sidelines the whole time. Blah, 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 going down a couple more, and then boom, here we got Mississippi State. I think this is the best game to judge Alabama off of is the Mississippi State game. Here's something I do know about that game. Arnett does not have his team right now over at Mississippi State. Will Rogers is so freaking confused in that offensive system right now that he doesn't know come here from Sikkim, right? He is so used to lining up in that air raid, having his pre-snap read, and knowing where he's going with the football immediately, right? He gets his check on the line. He sees his pre-snap read on the line, where he's going with the ball. He knows where to look, where to throw immediately. Any type of trickeration or setup play that comes off of that, it's designed. Now he's in this pro-style type setup, and they've got option routes, and he doesn't know where to look off. His pre-snap reads aren't working as well because people are disguising coverages a lot better against that as opposed to being spread completely out and kind of showing your cards offhand. His receivers absolutely suck at finding open grass. They're running and setting down beside defenders instead of setting down in open grass. It's just really rough on him right now. He doesn't have the chance to make those bam, 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 get you breathing hard and stick it down your throat type of passing offense. That helped Alabama a ton in that game. People are confused. Rodgers is confused. He's throwing picks left and right. Nobody knows. He doesn't know when to pull it down and run it. Sometimes he pulls it down and run it and does great. The next time he's getting sacked. He's not getting much help in his backfield from protection. They're running people out on flares and flat routes that he's hoping will decoy defenders, and he hasn't even looked over here to see that the defender decoyed him prior to him even throwing the ball, and ergo throws it directly to the defender. It's just a cluster offensively. Their back, number 7, Woody, he's probably the best athlete on the field for Mississippi State, and he rolled his ankle freaking 4 times in this game. Okay? That's what I saw from Mississippi State. The Alabama side, they were getting a lot of freebies. However, when push came to shove in Alabama's actual play, there's some good stuff that they do. I think they, for the most part, they have a pretty good defense. I think their secondary is pretty salty. But once again, I will say that they knew their responsibilities 10 times greater than Will Rogers and his receivers understood their responsibilities. So you were playing Mutt versus Jeff and something like this, or Jeff versus Mutt, however you want to say it. You got big versus little. You got Pinky versus the brain kind of thing going on when it's Bama's secondary versus Rogers' offensive passing game. When it comes to the running game, Alabama's C-gap responsibility is very weak. Mississippi State had a ton of success running through the C-gap, running like a old terms being like GT, something like that, running the G, running a counter, pulling a guard and tackle, getting out there, kicking out the end, and having the C-gap open up. That worked very, very well for Mississippi State. Now, obviously, you can only do that so many times before they bring somebody up to shut it down, and when they do, you have to be able to throw the ball over the top. Unfortunately, for Will Rogers and Mississippi State, they still cannot do that part. For us, in the Aggies, Max Johnson can. If Reuben Owens starts going off in that C-gap, which he will, he is a strong runner, he's got great eyes and good speed. Reuben Owens is going to have a really good day Saturday in the C-gap. Running it up the middle, not a good idea. Those guys are enormous, and they're like brick walls right there in the middle. Getting in that C-gap, kicking out an end or an edge player defender, and getting up in that C-gap, Reuben Owens is going to cut them down for 5, 6, 7 yards a chunk on those plays. That hurts a defense's soul because now they've got to move up, and now Max can go over the top. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's a good defender. Gonna be tough for us to get the ball down in that direction. And I imagine they lock him onto somebody like Evan Stewart. That's fine. Sucks for Evan. Might not have as big a game as what people are used to seeing Evan have. However, we have other people that are going to hurt them. The other side of that, if you can get Jade to have a good game, Noah comes in and plays well over there. Might be a good opportunity for Moose to hit the deep ball a couple times on that opposite side. That is where we're going to hurt them on that. And then also, just like I said last week, this is another fantastic opportunity for Ainias Smith. Ainias knows how to read green grass and where to sit down in green grass, and Max is good at finding that. Ainias will have a big day. Now, I know there's a lot of crap talking going on in the media between Ainias and him talking at Saban and their players coming back and talking about Ainias and the whole situation with Maurice and all the stuff that goes with that. However, Alabama's defenders leave big holes in the secondary. In our offensive, Petrino's going to have a field day with that if we can protect Max, because there is plenty of green grass. If we can hit the C-gap running the ball with Reuben, the passing game will open up tremendously. You could see the Aggies really put some points on the board. However, as opposed to trying to score a ton, I really like the idea of the hitting the C-gap, slowing down the game, dinking and dunking them over the top, and just continuously scoring 6 points, not 3, let's say 7, because Randy's going to make the extra point. We have faith in Randy. 7 points instead of 3 on each drive. If we can continuously do that and make them have to pick which one they're going to try to stop, and we put 7 points on our drives instead of Constantino having to try to pin them deep, the Aggies are going to be in good shape. Now, when you flip this around and you put Alabama on offense and the Aggies on defense, it's a pretty simple solution for them. They do a couple things well. All right, McClellan, he's a tough runner. He's not the backs we've seen Alabama have in the past, but he is a tough runner, and if you do not wrap him up, he's going to go for 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. But majority of the teams are getting to make first contact with him at the line of scrimmage or 1 to 2 yards downfield. Aggies wrap up with our big, massive defensive front, and we're in really good shape. Milroe, he doesn't like being a pocket passer. He wants to get out of it. If we can collapse that on him and play like we did last week with Edgerrin Cooper being a spy, we're in really good shape. However, what we need to have happen, and I believe our edge is going to be with number 65, who is their right tackle. Now, the past 2 weeks, it's been a little right tackle problem. Right tackle in the SEC might be it might be something SEC-wide that's troubling for people. However, the past 2 weeks in Auburn and in Arkansas, we spoke about their right tackle basically lining up in the backfield. And I told you guys that gives our quick outside athletes enough space to make their tackle miss in space. We did a fantastic job of that, and that's why we've seen 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 sacks in the past couple weeks. Because when you spread that out going that way, it allows people to come underneath and get free and clear shots on the quarterback. He does not, 65, their right tackle, does not play off the ball into the backfield like the past 2 weeks we've seen. Alabama is pretty straight across the front, and they have really good alignment, which you would expect out of a championship caliber team and program. However, in a true passing setup, that guy likes to cheat back really fast. He might be lined up properly at first, but on the snap of the ball, he's willing out of there as fast as he can. Our speed getting up on that outside edge shoulder will allow, again, Fidel Diggs can beat him to the outside. Am I saying Fidel's going to wrap around and get a sack? No, but that does give us the edge to slip somebody underneath, make Milroe step up if Edgerrin Cooper can hang on, and one of our big guys, Walter Nolan, Shamar Stewart, Overton, any of those guys down there that come into the middle portion, our tackles and our nose type positions in there, if they can grab and hold on to Milroe, it will be a long night for Alabama. However, if we miss, they will drive their receivers so deep that when Milroe gets out of the pocket, up, not to the outside, but up, he likes to step up. If Edgerrin Cooper misses, it will be a touchdown for Alabama. Milroe is too good once he gets in green grass for our secondary to come up and make great tackles on him. You're not going to leg tackle him. You're going to have to wrap him up, and he is shifty, he's fast, and he's strong. It's really tough to make an open field tackle on Milroe. However, if we can get one of the big guys, like I said, in the middle to get one of those paws on him and then let Edgerrin come in and clean clock, we're in shape. We're in really good shape right there. Now, passing stand-wise, he's great at throwing the deep ball. He really does throw a nice deep ball. He can't throw the deep ball if we're getting pressure on him. Outside the pocket, it's iffy. He does some things I don't like as a former quarterback coach. He throws the ball across his body a ton. You'll see him a lot of plays roll out to his right, not designed, but under pressure, and then try to direct traffic and throw back across his body to the left. This is where we're going to have some guys being ball hawks in our secondary. That's the greatest time in the world to make interceptions, is a quarterback throwing across his body. Now, if you're like Mississippi State did and you hang around hoping to try to break up a pass or make a tackle, well, he's going to complete a lot of them. If you will let Edgerrin Cooper do what he's supposed to do and the D-line pressure him, and you in the secondary keep your eyes where they're supposed to be and make a play on the ball, we will get some turnovers against him. One, he is susceptible to fumbling the ball. Two, he's very susceptible to throwing interceptions if you do not stare down the backfield and lose track of where your receivers are going. There's going to be a lot of scramble and chunks coming out of Jaden Milroe because I have faith that our D-line will get into the backfield. That's how we win the football game. If the Aggies will do what we said on offense, hit the C-gap in the run game, that's going to be it. Look for Le'Veon Moss to have a good day, and then hit that short game passing stuff. Now, I would love to see Petrino dial a couple up to hit them deep because I think you can do it, especially on the opposite side of Kool-Aid. But I don't see anything wrong. A lot of times you'll see offensive coordinators get bored with something that's working, so they try to shift it up, switch it up. They waste a play. Next thing you know, you're ending up punting. I see nothing wrong with pounding the rock in the C-gap, making them step up, hitting open grass with Anias or Jake Johnson or whoever it is coming across the middle, and just dinking and dunking them all the way down the field and sticking it down their throat, wasting time off the clock and scoring 7. That's what I would like to see. Petrino dials one up every now and then and hits them big. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. But let's keep a consistent game plan right there on the offense going against them. Defensive-wise, got to get that number 65, Fidel. You guys got to get him pressured on the outside. We've got to have Durkin dialing up some slips underneath in that C-gap for us, smashing them in the mouth. Their running backs do not do a great job protecting, but Milrose shifty. We need Edgerrin to spy. We need our secondary to really, really do their job this week, because there's going to be a lot of iffy passes, a lot of 50-50 balls, and the Ags are going to have to come down with it. If this all happens the way I'm really hoping it is, we have to, it's tough for me too, because I'm so big on the karma and the what do you call it? I can't even, superstition. So big on the superstition and all this stuff. I hate seeing people picking the Aggies all over the national media. I hate it. I want it all to go away. But if we're just talking football, and that's all we're talking about, is two teams, 18 to 23-year-old kids out there playing to the best of their ability. If the A&M will do what we just talked about, and Alabama plays like they normally do, right? You got two teams coming in with two separate groups of athletes that are going to play the best game possible. Texas A&M, I'm going to go ahead and call it, wins this game 28-14 in favor of the Ags. You heard it right here, and I sure hope we're right again. Hey, appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't yet, on Twitter, @SkylerSports, go ahead and click the subscribe button here. Once we get to 50 subscribers, we can go live, and you guys can interact and tell me how dumb I am. Until then, you just got to keep hearing me rambling. Peace.